What's up, all of you crazy, beautiful, and creative people? This is Creative Motivation, where I give you the most practical advice possible to staying on track in your creative quests, keeping you out of the rut, allowing you to make art in a world that needs it now more than ever. Today's episode, setting goals. Okay, so this seems like a pretty straightforward one, right? You set goals in any business, in any endeavor. Whether you're an entrepreneur, chef, painter, musician, goals are absolutely crucial. But as much as I'm going to talk about that on this channel, today I wanted to talk about it within the confines of group projects. This is absolutely crucial because I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with a lesson or a session plan with a musician and we spend the first 15 minutes of this session griping about one of their band members who's always late or lazy, they don't post enough on social media, they don't practice their parts enough, and it causes a lot of stress. And I've seen a lot of friendships and interpersonal relationships because of it, especially when it's not handled well. And you know, if you're the person with ambition in your group and you're dealing with that, have dealt with that, I got news for you. It's your fault. And here's why. There's a few different ways to pursue a music career. You can go above and beyond and you want to tour the world and you want to make platinum records and work with all the greatest producers and musicians. That's great, and I support that 100%. I've been going after that dream since I was 14 years old, which is a couple decades now. But there's also other avenues that are just as viable and just as admirable and okay. If you're the weekend warrior and you've got a 9-to-5 job and you play a few gigs a year, or maybe you play every weekend and you just get together with the crew and play some covers or some originals in some bars, local wineries, there's nothing wrong with that at all. As a matter of fact, that's the lifeblood of any local community. It's important and people need that release, whether you're playing your own material or covers. We provide music for the world so that the world is a little bit better of a place, right? Now, if you're the person with ambition in your group and you're dealing with somebody who doesn't have that same vision, you're the one who let them into your creative circle. And I think that's why it's important to talk about this early and talk about it often. Here's where we are, here's where we want to go, and here's what it's going to take to get there. That's why setting goals that are kind of lofty or vague aren't effective at all. You have to set a goal with a clear destination in mind and as firm of a grasp on how you get there as possible. Being a professional musician is no joke. If you're going to do this full time and tour, you're going to have merchandise, maybe you're looking for a booking agent or some kind of representation, you're going to miss a lot of events in your life. Your class reunion, your best friend's wedding, maybe grandma gets sick while you're out on the road. You're gonna miss a lot of stuff. It takes a lot of sacrifice, not to mention the hours a day that you spend practicing and posting on social media, creating video content, looking into different t-shirt distributors and designers, recording the albums. It's a ton of time and a ton of sacrifice. And if you're dealing with somebody in your group who's just not coming up to speed or up to par, well, have that dialogue with them. Hey, you know, this is where we're trying to go and this is what we're trying to do. And if you have that dialogue and ultimately you have to let this person go, that conversation is going to be infinitely smoother having multiple conversations about it, because they may not be totally clear on what it takes. And if as long as you're having these conversations about what it's going to take to get there, if ultimately you have to let them go, they're going to understand it and be a lot happier when they're not in this project with you who's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, right? I know you've been there. I've dealt with it. I've been the person who didn't show up prepared, and I've been the person who was upset that someone else didn't show up prepared. But having conversation and using open communication with no angst, no bitterness, no anger, coming at it like a compassionate human being and understanding they're not doing anything wrong. They're just not envisioning the same end goal and destination as you. So you can't hold it against them, and you absolutely should not talk down to them or be condescending. It's absolutely crucial. So how do you do this? Well, set a goal for 6 months. Hey gang, 6 months from now we need to have an album and a music video for our best song on the album, and here's exactly how we're gonna get there, here's who we're recording it with, and here's how many hours a day we need to be rehearsing. Set those expectations that are tangible and very understandable. Then set one for a year, 5 years, 10 years. My favorite Tony Robbins quote says, most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10. Which links directly to one of my other favorite quotes, which is, overnight success takes 10 years. So you have to measure your expectations. Are you gonna go for a modest touring career where, 2, 3, 4, 500 people show up in each town that you tour? Maybe they pay $10 a ticket. They're true fans, so they buy all your albums, they buy your merchandise. Well, that's a pretty decent living depending on the size of your band. Or are you trying to go all the way? Or are you someone that just wants to play every once in a while and have a good time and make the world a better place with music? Whether it's at your local campground around the fire, your local brewery or winery, music clubs, music festivals, and so on and so on and so on as you scale it up. Be clear about it and understand what it's going to take to get there, so that when you form a band, or maybe you're already in a band, you can clearly communicate where it is you're going and how you're going to get there. And if there's going to be somebody in the group that's ultimately not going to measure up, they're going to start to see it in their mind and think, I've got this 9 to 5 and I got my kids and I have my significant other. There's no way I'm going to be able to do all this. If they're coming to those conclusions, I promise you, if ultimately you have to sever creative ties with that person in this project, that conversation is going to be a lot easier because you've been open and communicative from day one. So set your goals. Know where you're going before you even start the project, if you're not already in one. And if you are already in one, make sure you sit down. Everyone gets a glass of water or whiskey or beer or whatever it is you guys like to do together. Don't pick up your instruments and just have that conversation. Hey gang, where are we going? Where would we like to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Is anyone else kind of dreaming about, becoming a custom car detailer and not telling the rest of us because they're afraid we're going to be upset? Are they starting to dream about other things? Have those conversations. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and it's going to take you further as a group, having those conversations consistently. Because then you're all rowing in the same direction at the same time, and the boat's not going like this, it's going like this, towards a clearly defined destination with a series of tangible goals and markers that can help you along the way. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of the positive comments that I'm getting, the subscribers. I'm a little overwhelmed, honestly, that this is going as well as it is. So thank you so much. If there's something you'd like me to talk about, or maybe a topic you'd like me to cover and go in depth on, I'd be happy to do so. Make sure you tell me about it in the comments or send me a private message. I would love to do it. So this has been Creative Motivation. Thanks for watching. I love you. I mean it. I really do love you. Now get out there and make some art. Toodles.